This is a CBC podcast. Keep track of your game with CBC Sports. With headlines, clips, schedules, and news, our sports portal will tell you what you missed and what not to miss. Check it out at cbc.ca/sports.
It's Wednesday, February 3rd. American Idol judge Simon Cowell is producing a single to help raise money for Haiti. Currently, in Simon's own words, it is a vapid, flaccid, steaming piece of mediocrity which might do a lot of good. This is The Current Podcast.
Good morning and welcome to this special edition of The Current. I'm Anna Maria Tremonti.
And I'm David Gutnick in Haiti. And what you're hearing there are the sounds of survival. For the last 10 days, I've been wandering across this broken landscape, through the lives of people whose world has collapsed all around them. And even as they try to get on with their lives, even as we marvel at their resilience, the real work of beginning again is only underway.
David, one of the especially heart-wrenching stories that surfaced in the wake of this quake were the thousands of amputations that were given to people who were so badly injured. Does anyone know exactly how many people we're talking about?
So far, between 3,000 and 4,000 people have had limbs amputated since the earthquake. There's talk about a whole generation here of handicapped who will emerge from this disaster. And remember, finding a shelter as well as something to eat and drink, it's already hard enough for the healthy people in this city. So it's almost impossible to imagine the lives of people who are newly handicapped on top of all that. And because the amputations were done so quickly and in such horrific conditions, lots of these people are going to need some kind of corrective surgery in the months and then years to come.
Well, have you met people then who have just had recent amputations in Port-au-Prince?
Yes, I have. I was in a park in Pétionville, which is up the mountain here, and I met a muscular young man on crutches, and he'd lost his left foot, and his home, I should add, had been crushed. So the only place he had to live was in this crowded park. And now he had these brand new aluminum crutches. He was bandaged all around the knee, and he was trying to maneuver in these little short hops down the meter-wide alley in this tent park between the sheets that were sort of flapping in the wind. Now, he told me he just wanted to lay down in a private place, this 2-meter square patch on the ground that he shares with a couple of other young men. He told me that before the earthquake, he'd always been able to hustle to get enough work, a bit of construction labor here, a bit of delivery work over there. So he had enough money in his pocket all the time to get by. But now, he's got this constant, painful throbbing. He's also living with shame. He's worried that he'll have to spend the rest of his life relying on other people. And he's a proud guy, something he never, ever wanted to do.
So if he's lucky, maybe he'll get a chance to be fitted for an artificial limb. And if he does, there's a good chance that it'll come from a relief organization called Healing Hands for Haiti. There's a Canadian doctor who's working with Healing Hands for Haiti in Port-au-Prince, huh?
There is. Her name is Colleen O'Connell. She's from Fredericton, New Brunswick, and I actually first met her in 2004 at a Healing Hands clinic in Port-au-Prince, down the hill from where I am now. Now, at that time, the clinic was just a couple of dark little rooms, and the doctors, the therapists, met the amputees in the courtyard. And the years since then, Healing Hands has been able to build a much larger facility. It had a well-equipped workshop, rehab rooms, offices. There's a beautiful guest house surrounded by trees. Dr. O'Connell was constantly back and forth between Fredericton and Port-au-Prince. And then the earthquake, and that well-equipped workshop was crushed. Dr. O'Connell was in Fredericton when the earthquake hit. She rushed here to Port-au-Prince, and she had been spending over the last week between 12 and 15 hours a day in the midst of the medical chaos that's happened here.
The hospitals are still very busy, but now's the time for rehab, start getting patients mobilized, and otherwise they're going to be at a disadvantage.
So where are we heading now?
We're heading right over to the Healing Hands for Haiti compound. And then we're going to go over to Hôpital Sacré-Cœur, which is a private hospital here, but has been open to the public and have been seeing a lot of patients with amputations, fractures, spinal cord injuries, and major wounds.
Let's go.
All right.
Bonjour. Bonjour. Comment you?
So you went off through the streets.
And so we went off through the streets, the rubble-filled streets of Port-au-Prince, up the hill to Pétionville, and that's where Healing Hands built a whole compound. It's a beautiful location, Anna Marie. It overlooks a valley. There's these beautiful flowering trees. It was very close to the epicenter of this whole earthquake. An interpreter with the clinic, Yasmin Edwards, was there to meet us and to introduce us to some of the other volunteers.
That was the lobby and some apartment. They collapsed completely. And up, we had the clinic.
Look at this.
Yep.
How's your family?
Family. My dad died. And I have a little cousin of 7 years. He died also. So now we're living on the street like everybody else.
So I'm looking at you and I'm trying to understand how you can be back here at work, helping out Healing Hands when...
You have to work so you can try to forget some things. If you stay in the same place thinking, I think you might go crazy. I'm trying to not get crazy. If you want to go up, we can go with Colleen up the clinic so you can see.
Are there any crutches in there?
Watch out for that electrical cable, right behind your back.
It's the first time I've been able to enter. Al Ingersoll, based in Minneapolis.
Just looking around here, the floor is covered in broken plaster, broken feet, broken hands, broken arms.
I was picking up a cast that had plastic formed over it for a child's brace, and probably within a few days the child would have been standing and possibly walking with this brace. And now who knows whether the child is even alive. It's been 8 years getting to this point, and now we're just starting over again. And so hopefully we can get a plan put together quickly and get something reopened.
You know, there's no question that Healing Hands must rebuild, and we will rebuild. We're not going to leave Haiti.
It's Day Moon, Gay Moon. You already had one mountain.
Yeah, there's more mountains, but that's okay. There's valleys in between those mountains. Usually with nice shining lakes.
David, a heartbreaking visit. Yasmin shows up because she says it's the only way not to go crazy. You can hear Al's voice breaking when he sees the workshop. And Dr. O'Connell just tries to stay positive, huh?
Yeah, pretty astounding, terribly sad, and also impressive at the same time. And if you head up the hill just a few hundred meters away, but out of the way of the debris in case there's another earthquake, there's already a group of volunteers setting up a tent where clients can come. They've made handmade signs you see along the road. Dr. O'Connell is a spine and brain specialist, and she's needed in local hospitals. So there she is, cell phone in each hand, trying to help. So we got back in the vehicles, headed off again. This time we pulled up at Sacré-Cœur Hospital. That courtyard was full of people on stretchers. They were surrounded by family, tables overflowing with medications. There are doctors with their names and specializations written on tape and just pasted on their chests, and they were just rushing from patient to patient. They're holding up x-rays to the sun so they can read them and making decisions right in front of the patients there, right there. And every few minutes, a military helicopter would just thwap, whap, whap, passing overhead. Dr. O'Connell approached Dr. Jacqueline Crowley. She's an orthopedic surgeon from Colorado.
I was wondering where all the crutches and things were coming from.
They're coming from us.
They're being used, but we've got these physical therapists.
More, I know. All the patients are outside here and under these tents. Est-ce que c'est pareil du côté?
It's a superficial sore, and then you can feel his pelvis. That's right.
Where the shear fracture is, yeah. What's happening now is a lot of these patients, they're being seen in the hospitals where the resources are, such as here. But they may be originally from other areas of the country, and we're going to lose them. We're not going to be able to find them unless we figure out now how to register them, get contact information so that when the prosthetics and orthotics clinics are up and ready to run, we can find them and bring them back and tell them here's where you need to go to get your new leg or your new mobility aid or whatever device it's going to be.
And people aren't used to thinking about things like that when you come from outside the country. You expect the patient is going to come to